culture was a big part of the story right from day one. And I said, okay, well, how did you do that? He says, well, we separated culture and HR. Now, he's a little bit of a bigger business, right? 140 employees. He can afford to do that. But he has a dedicated resource for culture, a chief culture officer, and he has a dedicated resource for HR. And I said, but can you really do that? Can you outsource culture? He said, no, you can't. You absolutely can't. So we all know as CEOs that you can't have more than 5 direct reports in a week. It's kind of like the written and unwritten law of executives. He restructured the org chart in his company to take one of his direct reports and ship it off somewhere else so that culture is one of his direct reports. He sits every week one-on-one with the culture officer, and they talk about what they're going to do for culture in their business. The culture officer then goes and executes it with the rest of the team, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this ownership of responsibility at the executive level for culture seems to be a resounding theme that happens across all the companies. But how do you go about doing that? How do you actually execute on it, which was what I found interesting. And HR answers to the COO. They take care of all the process and all the legal. It's culture that responds to the CEO. So that was kind of interesting. And this comes through and through in their entire business. Their clients send them love letters. They get posted to their Facebook page. Their employees are super engaged, and as you would expect, turnover is very, very low. So what's the second way? The second way is make sure that you define your culture, write it down, and then use it. Now, a lot of companies, ourselves included, we actually looked to Google's playbook on this because they very famously looked at 4 things that they wanted to do in their company in order to define their culture early on. Their vision, their values, their purpose, and their BHAG, or their big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And they made sure that those things were written down in the company. If you think